We've had 2 chapters since the last break, and because December and New Year, there will be more breaks than normal because Oda deserves his holidays too. The way I structure this will be slightly differently, so we're going to be discussing the last 2 chapters, 1068 and 1069, and then break week is this week, technically, that I'm posting this. Then we'll have another chapter on Christmas Day, another break, another chapter, another break, and then probably back to normal. So I'm not going to post a chapter review directly after Christmas. I will bunch together the chapter for the 25th and the 6th, and I will be posting that week for those 2 chapters, and then we should be back to normal in case you're curious about my schedule. But what you're probably more curious about is the contents of these chapters, so let's talk. So CP0 is here, and I have a lot of thoughts about CP0 being here, but what I'll acknowledge first is that I do appreciate the humor around this. I love Stussie's presence, specifically how she has been here before. She clearly has a ton of knowledge. I think we'll probably get more information on her and her background in history eventually as well, but she clearly has a ton of knowledge. She knows what she's talking about, but she chooses to withhold that knowledge until they're in despair. So they'll go attack something and then she's like, that's not gonna work. You really shouldn't do that. And then as they're either ineffectual in their attacks or on fire or whatever the consequence is, they're just shouting at her, you need to tell us these things sooner. And I love that humor around her. In my mind, I like to think that she secretly hates them all and is actually loyal to Vegapunk, and that's why she's not disclosing any information, but that's probably not true at all. It's probably just Oda humor, but I quite enjoyed it. So Luffy has diplomatic immunity now, so as an emperor, they can't just attack him, which is a great shield for us. I love that for him. But I also really love that Lucci doesn't care and he attacks anyway, which we'll talk more about in a minute. But they say, we can't fight Luffy without clearance because of his diplomatic immunity. If we hit him, we will essentially be starting a war. And after they all discuss that, Lucci's first reaction is to start a war. And he even says, it's gonna be a bad idea for me to do this, but here I go. And I really like this. I actually super duper wish Oda had drawn a panel of Lucci landing a punch on Luffy, even though I love all the panels of Luffy dodging all of Lucci's attacks. And in one, he's like laughing as he dodges, and then he's asleep as he dodges. And you can just tell Luffy's having the time of his life, not really engaging, just kind of playing with Lucci, which I thought was so fun. And Lucci isn't the type of fighter to punch. He's the type of fighter to point hard. So it wouldn't really work, but I do sort of wish that Oda had drawn a panel of Lucci actually landing a punch on Luffy's face and we see the impact, because here's why. Because this to me is such a fun parallel to previous endeavors. Luffy said, if I fight that celestial dragon, or other people said, if he fights that celestial dragon, we're essentially declaring war. And so Luffy hits Carlos because he deserves it. And then Luffy turns to his friends and says, sorry, I just started a war. And then here we have people who are directly under the Celestial Dragons, who take orders from them and should be running every action they have through the correct channels, but instead they say, we shouldn't hit Luffy or we'll start a war. And Lucci says, sorry, I just started a war. So I kind of wish we had that panel to just really draw that parallel, because I quite like that kind of circle, I guess, full circle. I mean, it's not really a full circle, but I like that connection of that past thing that Luffy did, and now someone directly under the Celestial Dragons is doing it to Luffy, but Luffy's still gonna clean the floor with him. Anyway, Luffy technically did begin the fight, or we didn't see who threw the first punch, but Luffy was happy to engage in the fight because Lucci attacked Atlas. And Atlas fed Luffy, so, you know, we fight. And as I said, I really enjoyed the fight. I loved seeing Luffy basically just tease Lucci. It really showed, I think, how unevenly matched they are, because it seems like Lucci is giving his all and Luffy is just having some fun, which has me thinking that whenever Luffy is ready to throw his punch, there's not gonna be a fight. Plus we did get that Enies Lobby punch recreation which is what I'm saying. Like, we already got that direct correlation. Let's just also have the punch direct. Anyway, one really thing that was revealed to us right before the fight began was that the Cyberpole ships continually get lost as they launch off of Egghead Island, and they've lost several over the last 2 months. They've lost everyone over the last 2 months, which everyone that has launched from Egghead Island, which has me wondering, is the reason CP0 was activated for this task because multiple assassins have already been sent out and they've failed and in fact been lost and they don't know where they are anymore, and so that's why they're sending the top dogs? And that could also potentially be why Vegapunk fully understands that, like, they're coming for his life, because there have been previous attempts that he's taken care of, which Lilith, it was Lilith. Lilith, the evil, did get real mad when she was accused of being a part of the disappearing ships. But, you know, she's evil. She lies. Anyway, my low-key theory right now is that it's Kuma. Because I want Kuma. I just want more Kuma in this story, and I know we're gonna get more, but I want more now. So my theory is Kuma. Because how long ago did the Revolutionary Army free Kuma? Maybe 2 months ago? I mean, we don't know. It could have been 2 months. So as of 2 months ago, all the ships started disappearing. Is it possible that when they were in danger and Vegapunk actually thought, okay, we need to fight? I mean, so Vegapunk said, all forces activate, let's go, I think, or something of that sort. And then immediately after that, Kuma got up and started running, even though he wasn't supposed to start moving yet. He wasn't recovered yet. The Revolutionary Army was still working on him, but he got up and started moving. And I know that there was a decent amount of speculation at the time that, okay, is Vegapunk in control of Kuma? Obviously, a lot of us thought that Kuma was going to protect Bonnie, and I'm still super down with that idea too. But it could be that Vegapunk activated Kuma to come and take care of this ship as well, disappear this crew too, because that's what's been happening over these last 2 months is Kuma continues to pawpaw himself to Vegapunk and pawpaw them away. And that's why all these Cyberpole ships are disappearing. Now, I will say that the Revolutionary Army's reaction to Kuma has me kind of hesitating on this idea, because while they never said, Kuma, you've never moved before, please don't move now. So like, it's possible that they were just like, oh no, not again. But they also never said not again. Their reaction does seem to be more focused on you shouldn't be moving and less focused on don't move again. This is a pattern and we're never gonna fix you if you keep doing this. So the Revolutionary Army's reactions, while it doesn't necessarily bat down my theory, it also doesn't reinforce my theory. So I'm not gonna die on this hill, but I do like the idea of Kuma being behind the Cyberpole ships disappearing, and the reason he's running to Egghead Island right now is because he's gonna go pawpaw away another ship, and then whatever Vegapunk gave to Bonnie or said he has for Bonnie is actually something to restore Kuma's personality, and then we can have some Kuma reunions and lore dumps, and I'm like, I would love all that. But it's also very possible that Kuma is about to arrive to sacrifice himself so that they can leave, and it'll be devastating. I would not love that. I mean, I would, because it would be very good storytelling, but I would not, because I love Kuma. Anyway, Vegapunk dropped 2 bombs in this chapter. The first one, and lesser one, is his own dream, which is to create energy, to make energy abundant, available, and free to everyone. I love that dream for him, and I love that dream for this world, and I hope it happens. And in fact, while you're distributing your energy machines, please also distribute your food machines, where people could have abundant and accessible food all the time. There's a couple of places that I could direct you to that could really use that. However, he also said, the resources we use to create energy are a constant source of war and squabbling. And then he reinforces that by just a little bit later saying, one of the greatest causes of war in the world is energy, the lack of energy, or all those things. So, I just don't see it that much. I mean, you can draw connections for sure in isolated places, but it seems like the greatest causes of war, and one of the greatest causes in the war is energy. I just feel like I would have preferred that to have been amplified a little bit more in the story up to this point. Like, I can see a few instances, a few islands where that could be true, but that's really not been something that's been heavily hinted at or discussed up to this point. It's more like powers, people in power abusing said power is more of the source of war in this world. And that's not to say that that invalidates other sources of war. It just doesn't seem like, I just haven't heard this talked about enough to really understand. It's possible Vegapunk is just wrong, or it's possible that there's just a lot more layers to this that Oda's going to drop later. But as of right now, I really would like more information on this view of the world that Vegapunk has. We also get the information about the real origin, or at least the beginnings of information. We're definitely not done talking about this, or not done giving information about this. The real origins of the devil fruits, which I'll just read to you. Every devil fruit is a possibility for human evolution that someone desired. If only I could be like this. If only I could be like that. All of these powers represent the many branches of the future of humanity, but that unnatural status is loathed by the sea, the mother of nature, a fitting punishment for its sin. Those with powers exist in different dimensions dreamed up by someone else before them. Now, we're gonna need a lot more peeling back of layers on this one too. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more information given to us about this, and I would really love to have it. But just speaking of what we have now, first I'll say, when I first read this, I very much was thinking, so you manifest what you want, like you think I'd like to be a mermaid. Boom, mermaid fruit. I eat it. Now I can swim in the ocean, but the ocean hates me, so she drowns me. Like, is that how devil fruits were created? I will it into being. I did watch Liam's video this morning as I was getting ready to film for this chapter, and he said that he talked with O'Hara, who said that it was more, the translation more indicated that people's dreams are what cause humans to get to the point of creating something. They want it so badly that they figure out a way to make it happen, as opposed to like, oh, I really want this, pop, oh, devil fruit, neato, you know what I mean? I'm much more happy with that, if that's what's going on here, because the idea of, I would like something very specific. What could it be? What would I like? Swamp. I want to be a swamp. I think that's my greatest desire in life. I'm pretty sure that's the only thing I want from my life. Oh, cool, here's a devil fruit. I get to turn into a swamp. I don't like that at all. So I really hope that it's more to what O'Hara said and less to what I was thinking. But I also super duper extra love the idea that the ocean considers that unnatural. The sea considers it unnatural. And so the sea, the mother of nature, decided to pit herself against, to make herself an enemy of devil fruit users. I adore that. So I love nautical fantasy and have read many books about the sea. I actually studied to be an oceanographer for a very short time before I realized I wasn't smart enough to be an oceanographer. I love the ocean. And I have read a few novels where the sea is actually sentient. Whether it be the sea itself has its own way of thinking and dealing, and the sea itself actually capsizes ships and drowns sailors as its own form of justice, or because it needs that to feed on in order to continue to survive. I've read books with like a water spirit or a water goddess that controls the sea, mermaids, you name it, I've probably read it. And one of my favorite tropes of all time is a sentient sea, or a person that is like a guardian of the sea, that controls the sea, that is one with sea. It's one of my top tier favorite tropes. It's very specific, and I think I'm one of the few people that love it on the level that I do, but this has me really excited. This very well could be not the direction that Oda is going in, but if this is what he's doing, where the sea itself, or the mother of nature who controls the sea, is a sentient being that puts herself against unnatural acts, something that puts you almost in your own dimension because you're acting outside of the laws of nature. And so she fights you, and so she would drown you if you dare come to her. I love it. It's probably not what Oda's doing, but it's what I'm gonna do in the fan fiction I write. I'm not gonna write a fan fiction, but if I did. I definitely don't think this is all the information that we're gonna get on Vegapunk's dream or on the way devil fruits are made. We're of course going to keep peeling back these layers and getting more information on it, but I do think that it was a distinct choice of Oda to reveal Vegapunk's greatest dream. The chapter before, he reveals that dreams are what began devil fruits. I don't know what the connection to this is. It could be that us assisting Vegapunk in this dream of creating all this energy or making energy more accessible, being able to do what he wants to do. Us assisting him in doing that is what unlocks our dreams, is what leads us to what we need. He did say that the closer he gets to his study of making energy more accessible, the closer he gets to the Void Century, to this great energy source that activated the Iron Giant, etc. So that's obviously connected. So we could very easily get a lot more information just by helping him pursue his dream. And then in pursuing his dream, it manifests our dreams. You know, like there's a lot of connection. There's a lot of directions we could go from here. But I do think that it was a very distinct choice of him to reveal Vegapunk's dream, and then immediately after have Vegapunk reveal how key dreams are to the creation of devil fruits, and I'm gonna keep that in mind. So anyway, through some slight manipulation, a little bit of guilt tripping, Vegapunk convinces Sentamaru to fight on his side. So through that, we then have him activating his pacifista seraphims. And then he says, oh yeah, Esper, kill them. So we learn about the Seraphim hierarchy. What was it called? The Pacifista Authority Hierarchy, which I loved. But also, are CP0 idiots? Like, they knew it. It wasn't even an instance of Stella, what was her name? Stussy. It wasn't that Stussy was withholding this information, and then after Esper is activated, Stussy says, oh, by the way, he controls them more than us. They all knew it. They all acknowledged it. They all said, oh, whoops, before she said anything. And then she was the one, I believe, that explained the hierarchy. Yeah, she was the one that explained the hierarchy, but they were already reacting. Kaku was already over here going, oh yeah, that thing. Oops. Are they stupid? You knew about the hierarchy order. You knew that Vegapunk and Axe Guy are both higher than you. And even if you didn't know Axe Guy was here, I'm pretty sure you knew Vegapunk was here. He was your target. So did it never cross your mind that if we bring Esper in here to kill Vegapunk, could Vegapunk maybe say, no, don't do that. Kill them. Even if they didn't know about Axe Guy, they knew Vegapunk was here. They knew they were gonna be facing him. They knew, are you stupid? So Axe Boy and Luffy get to chatting, which was interesting because Axe Boy and Luffy, Axe Boy's right. They were enemies. With Luffy's being all buddy-buddy with him, he's like, I'm not your friend. We're enemies. We hate each other. And Luffy's just like, let's hang out. So anyway, they get to chatting, and Lucci does what is the rudest thing in the world. And he sucker punches him. Estinamamu, Axe Boy, was not paying attention. And Lucci just sucker punched him. That was so rude. I cannot express to you how personally offended I am at that. Now, he's supposed to have the strongest defense in all the land. And he did just get a one-hit KO. At least it looked like he was knocked out. So he was distracted. He was shooting the breeze with Luffy, which means that he was not paying attention like he should have been. So maybe his defenses weren't at 100%, right? Like, I don't know how he works. So it's probably a matter of Luffy and Axe Boy got distracted and Lucci saw a weakness and took advantage, which was rude, but it was smart too. I gotta give him a point for that because he looks like an idiot in this chapter, and that was at least smart. But at the end of the day, he has extraordinarily strong defense, so I just don't really think he's gonna be down for very long. And Lucci, you know, I'm taking the point back away because he's still dumb, because Lucci hits him and then he like brags and he's like, now I'm in control of Esper again. What up? Okay, one, he's the strongest, his strongest defenses in all the land. He's getting back up. But two, even if he doesn't, Vegapunk is still right there. Vegapunk can teleport, say, no, S-Bear, kill them still. Keep killing them. Okay, bye. And then teleport back. Like, I know that they aren't aware that Vegapunk is watching this battle happen, but Vegapunk is still their ultimate destination. So no matter what, they're gonna see Vegapunk and say, S-Bear kill, and Vegapunk can just say, S-Bear no. So like, he feels so proud of himself for having taken down, for having like slightly injured Axe Boy. But like, did you really solve the problem, or is maybe the problem gonna come up again? Also, we have the Marine conversation where they said that CP0 realized their assassination plot had been discovered, realized that they weren't being sneaky, they weren't gonna be able to just say, hey, let us in, and Vegapunk says, sure, have some tea, and then they kill him, right? So they realize their assassin plot has been found out and Vegapunk is in the know. So instead of continuing on with trying to be sneaky snakes, they just say, okay, we're coming in guns a-blazing, we're gonna take you down, which is, according to the conversation we had between the Marines, is essentially a declaration of war. And they were pretty pissed off about it because they were like, you should have cleared that with us. You shouldn't have just made that decision. We should have been the deciders of if you barge in or if you leave and we regroup. But they barged in. So, CP0 barged in to essentially declare war when they shouldn't have. Did officially declare war when they started fighting with, when Lucci started fighting with an Emperor of the Sea. Didn't even consider that the weapon they brought is not owned by them or controlled by them to the highest degree and could be easily, very, very easily turned on them. And then when they took out Axe Boy, they thought, oh, hey, we're in control again, when you're definitively not. I mean, like, maybe you are for a minute, but you're still not the highest chain of command that is currently conscious. Jinbei said, when CP0 is activated, it said that world-shaking events are about to occur. Maybe world-shaking events occur because they don't think anything through. I'm not putting Lucci on like Green Bull level dumb, but he's a little bit dumb. However, the next chapter is going to be great because Sentamaru, I'm probably saying it wrong, Axe Boy, Kizaru, and Kuma are all going to be here very soon. Assuming Kuma is coming to Egghead Island, it sure does look like that's what's going on. This is going to be an awesome parallel to the last time they were all together to show a very distinct display of how much things have changed since the last time they were all together. Instead of running away and desperately trying to fight, they're actually gonna be able to stand their ground and hold their own, and it's gonna be so awesome to see. And hopefully it will also lead us to be able to unlock the personality of Kuma and get a nice little lore dump. Honestly, I'm so excited about these three being on this island together with the Straw Hats. I think that it could potentially be the perfect cap to the prequel of the final saga. So these next couple chapters are gonna be really good. Anyway, I would love to hear what you think. How did you feel about these chapters? Did you enjoy them? They are largely informational and set up with some action, so they aren't necessarily the most hype chapters, but the amount of things, the amount of information that we're getting, the amount of things that are indicating, it could go in so many different directions, and we've gotten so many big reveals through these chapters that it's been really, really fun to discuss. So I'd love to hear what you think of them. If you want to see me read week to week, I do my chapter readings on my Patreon, so you can check that out if you feel like it. I also have a second channel where I discuss what I'm reading week to week, as well as have like reviews, deep dives, all that kind of stuff. So that's all there. I'm currently finishing up a series with my friend Philip where we've been doing a deep dive book by book on Vinland Saga, and we're soon going to move on to Vagabond, which is going to be super fun as well. Anyway, I post videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on this channel, Tuesdays and Thursdays on the second channel, which is always linked in the description of my videos. I'll see you again soon. Bye.